Mindfulness is a practice that's been defined in a whole range of different ways, but it involves a sense of being present, being with our experience as it is, putting aside as much as possible a sense of how it should be, how it's supposed to be, how I want it to be, and really engaging with our experience as it unfolds moment to moment. And one way of understanding mindfulness that I find really, really helpful comes from a teacher called Ajahn Sumedho. But he talks about a welcoming quality. And to me, this really sums up what mindfulness is all about. So if we're sitting with mindfulness and we notice that there's a pain in the back, and kind of sensations of pain in the back, we're not trying to get rid of that, we're not trying to blank it out, we're not trying to distract ourselves, but we can be open to that experience, we can meet that experience. And what we discover in doing that is as we let go of the resistance to it, then we could just know it simply as sensation. It's not a problem, it's not a difficulty anymore. We can do that with thoughts. So very often in our lives, particularly if we have very busy lives, very full lives, we find our mind is full of so many different thoughts. What was happening at work last week, what's going to happen next week, what's going to happen in the years to come, how am I going to pay off my mortgage, am I going to be safe in my job, memories from years and years ago. So the mind can be so full. But with mindfulness, we can know thought as thought. And again, one of the principles that we explore in the mindfulness courses is that thoughts are not facts. And it's so liberating, it's so freeing to know that. We don't have to believe every thought that passes through our mind. We just know them as thoughts. So you can have the thought, I'm no good, I'm never going to be any good, this is going to go on forever. But with mindfulness, it's just a thought. It's just a thought. And we can see it and know it and allow it to pass. And that's a huge difference in our lives, because when we begin to believe all of those thoughts, then they have the power to condition how we feel, how we speak, how we act. But simply knowing it as it is so freeing, so helpful. And so too with emotions. So mindfulness is certainly not about not feeling anything or not having any emotions, but knowing emotion, feeling emotion, without necessarily being governed by it. And so one example that I very often use is that somebody sends us an email. It's one of the things that happens a lot these days. You get an email and it might press a button. The email triggers certain thoughts, certain emotions, and you might start to feel irritated, you might start to feel angry about the email. And without mindfulness, of course, habit just kicks in, reactivity kicks in, we just type away and immediately kind of respond from that emotion that's arisen. But with mindfulness, we can know that. We can feel it as well. We're directly experiencing it. But again, we simply know emotion as emotion. We don't have to feel like we've got to act it out. We don't have to get rid of it. But we can just be aware of it. It arises. It passes in our experience. And in doing that, again, there's a sense of not being governed by it, not being thrown around by it. Because we can have so many emotions just in a single day. But with mindfulness, we can be aware of them without letting them run our lives, without letting them kind of, do their thing and take us to places we may not want to go. So the mindfulness course that we offer is based on mindfulness-based stress reduction. It's based on mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, which are two very carefully designed and very carefully researched courses that help people to really to root mindfulness in their everyday lives. It's a very thought out course that goes from week to week to week, adding different elements of mindfulness that makes it a very, very useful tool for our everyday experience. So it requires no previous knowledge, there's no previous experience assumed on the course. It's useful for people who are feeling stressed, feeling anxious, or feeling at times of some kind of low mood, or just for the general ups and downs of life as well. It's good for all of those kind of people coming to it. And for me, really, it's a life skill. It's something that helps to enrich our life, whatever we're doing and whatever situation we're in. And so it's a real pleasure to be able to offer these courses.